Welcome, gentlemen. Shall we begin?
I'm going to do something a little different today and just be a talking head. Tell you about where I came from, what I'm doing here, and where I plan on going. So I grew up in New Jersey in a middle-class community, which was actually known for a famous murder called the John List murder, which occurred when I was maybe 2 years old. A man killed his family and covered it up pretty well. They didn't even realize that the family was missing for several months. And by that point, he had disappeared and was in another state, developing another life. Actually, he remarried to a woman who knew nothing about his previous life, and he was working as a cook, although earlier his training as John List was as an accountant. He did this because his religion made him feel that his family was slipping and were moving away from God, and he wanted to save their souls. He was captured by being on America's Most Wanted, and they recreated a bust based on what he would look like today. And the bust was incredibly accurate, and neighbors of his called in that they thought he was living next to them. Sure enough, he was, went on trial, went to jail, and died in jail maybe 10, 15 years ago. So that's where I got started on my interest in crime and true crime and all of those kind of fun, creepy, exciting things. As I grew up, I read everything I could. Oh, let me back up a little bit. I had two sisters who were 11 and 12 years older than I was, and they would force me to look at pictures in the book Helter Skelter, which they were just black and white, there were no pictures of gore or blood, but I knew enough of what I was looking at. So that also got me on that road. And as I got older, I kept reading and just seemed interesting to think about the lives of killers. You may hear my cat, I'm sorry. That got me started going down that road. In college, I had a great interest in sociology. I continued reading everything I could and reading about the current murders. John Wayne Gacy was in prison at that time, facing the death penalty when I was in college. Ted Bundy was also about to face the death penalty at that time. And it was just for lack of a better word, interesting time for people interested in true crime. So those highlights of true crime like John Wayne Gacy and Ted Bundy were all taking place when I was in college. So I decided to do a double major in communications, of course. Everyone who doesn't know what they want to do majors in communications, and sociology. And sociology really, really sat with me. So as a project, I decided to write to criminals and ask them why they did what they did and what prison life was like for them. And I received replies from several people, the most notable being John Wayne Gacy, who asked me for pictures of myself and asked me for my measurements. And it was very, very interesting letter. And I passed around my sociology class. They couldn't believe that I had written, and even less that I got a response. And yeah, so I never wrote back, but in that letter, he did ask for $200 and that he would give me a painting, which I still to this day kick myself for not sending it in. I was a college student. I didn't have $200. But today, those paintings are worth thousands and thousands of dollars. So I'm sorry that I don't have one in my collection, and I can't afford them now. So I'll probably never have one in my collection. But I do have a signature of John Wayne Gacy in my collection. And not to be creepy, which is what this channel's all about, right? Horror movies have always been an interest of mine. When I turned 50, well, earlier than 50, I had gone to Los Angeles on my own, just gave myself a little vacation, and I went on a tour called Dearly Departed Tours, run by Scott Michaels. And Scott Michaels, if you don't know, please check out his channel, Dearly Departed, Dearly Departed Tours. And Scott Michaels, if you don't know, is a Los Angeles true crime historian, and he specializes in crimes involving celebrities. So the Tate LaBianca crimes are a specialty, and actually he was a consultant on the film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Just brain lost it for a second. He was a consultant in that film. So very interesting guy, very knowledgeable guy, and did a great tour. Unfortunately, it's folded since. But when I turned 50, my wife and I went back to Los Angeles. I said, you have to meet this guy. He does this amazing tour. My wife also has a bit of a sick sense of humor, to the point where our wedding was a true crime wedding, and we had a murder mystery theater group perform at our wedding. So that's kind of how deep we are in this stuff. So my 50th birthday was a week after the 50th anniversary of the Tate LaBianca murders. And Scott was doing a very special tour on that day, on the day of the actual murders, August 9th, 8th and 9th, 9th and 10th, 8th and 9th, I think. And that's how much of an expert I am. Ask Scott, I'm sure he can come up with it like that. But yeah, and on those days, he ran a very special tour that involved more than just the tour. Went up to Cielo Drive, where the murders took place, went to the LaBianca home, where the next day the murders took place. And he just had so much knowledge, where the killers worked, where Abigail Folger bought her bicycle. Just all kinds of great information was provided, and just interesting stuff for me, and obviously many other nuts like me, because the tour buses were full. From what I understand, he did 2 tours that day. And then that evening, there was a dinner at El Coyote, which is the restaurant where Sharon Tate and her group had their final meal. And we were there on that night that they had their final meal. Please don't take this as meaning that I appreciate murderers, that I endorse murder in any way, which I certainly do not, that I admire these people. I just find them, as a sociologist, I went on to get my master's in education, psychology, sociology, and as a sociologist, I just find how the brain works of these people, or doesn't work of these people, to be a fascinating study. So I continued to collect things as I found them along the way. So let me share some things with you. Here I have a display piece from Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, the Newsweek cover. I have a replica of a wanted poster. I have a prison envelope with his return address handwritten. Theodore John Kaczynski, his prison ID number, and the address. Then I found a Ted Kaczynski card in a murderabilia deck of cards. And then here's the letter in his own handwriting. At this point, I'm going to ask you to please like and subscribe, and I would love to have some comments hearing what you think about keeping this stuff, having this stuff. It has a dark aura. I definitely agree with that, and it's not the most positive way to spend my time, but it's not the only way I spend my time. Eileen Wuornos. Here's a drawing I found. Not sure. Oh, I think I bought it online. So someone sicker than me is making drawings of Eileen Wuornos and selling them. I just buy them. Here's a prison ID card, also a replica. A coaster I found. A girl's gotta do what a girl's gotta do. And a card, serial killer card, just like the Ted Kaczynski one. And here's the fun part. Thank you for joining me, and maybe on the next journey, I'll take you to singular killers, which I do have quite a bit. Thank you, and please like and subscribe, and please comment. Thank you so much. Stay creepy.
All my friends have a dark past. Stay creepy.